Okay. All right. So, meat and potatoes time. We need to talk about converting degrees and radians, and I need to readjust my screen real quick. Sorry about that. So, last we left off, we figured out that the connection between radians and degrees. So now let's apply that. So if I tell you that we have, let's say, uh, 30 degrees, and I want to figure out what that would be in radians. Well, we have to use what we know. We know that a whole circle is 360 degrees, and that's the same as saying we have 2 pi's worth of radians. Or we can say, well, let's just break it down to half circle, right? It's still the same relationship, and it's smaller number, so automatically that should be easier to work with. Okay, so I have 30 degrees. I have a possible 180 degrees. And I want to figure out what that would be in radians, given that 180 degree corresponds is the same as pi radians. So here's what we can do. Well, 30 divided by 180 is really 1/6. So I have 1/6 is equal to r divided by pi. And I want to get the r by itself, so I'm just going to multiply both sides by pi. So I could say that r would equal pi divided by 6 radians. So 30 degrees is the same as pi over 6. Notice, I do not want a decimal representation. I would rather leave it as pi over 6 because that's something I can work with. All right, let's try another one. Now, let's say this time we have 3 pi over 2 radians. And I want to know how many degrees that corresponds to. So what I would do is this. Same idea. I know that 3 pi over 2, aka 3 pi, or 3 over 2 times pi over 1 pi would be the same as theta degrees over 180. So this actually works out a little bit nicer because notice, well, they both have pi's, so I'm just going to cancel these out. So I have a 1 left over my denominator. So now I have 3 over 2 divided by 1. Well, that's just 3 over 2. Would equal theta divided by 180. So now get rid of the denominator, so multiply by the 180 in the denominator. And that gets me 270 degrees, which is my theta. So that's all you really have to do when it comes to these kinds of problems. As long as you just set up the proportion right, part over whole, and the whole in this part would be the 180 degrees and the pi. Just set it up, simplify, and multiply, and you can do all the conversions. Nice and easy.